It is like this. I was born as a third child of my parents, and it still was the Second World War. I know the birth was not so easy for my mom because she was alone, there was no help. And because it was war, the clinic was bombed, so no medical help and no midwife. And it was not the easiest way to step into life. It was bombed all around Stuttgart and all these cities where there was a lot of production also, I think, about weapons and so the Alliierten, they bombed a lot, especially in the night where I was born. And I think, yeah, if you speak about trauma, then I think this also was a trauma because my father was somewhere in the war. I didn't understand. Later, I couldn't understand that my father went to Russia and to France to kill the fathers of children, and not knowing who they are. For me, the war is always a mysterical. How can people go in war? How can young men go to war? And this I even didn't understand in my childhood. Yeah. I don't remember being hungry, uh, but I remember very well that we went on the fields which were already geerntet, emptied from the farmers, looking for some corn and looking for something to eat. I was a very little girl and I walked in the woods and we did collect from the beech trees the seeds, and the parents made oil of it and so on. So the stories after the war were deeply in us children, of course, yeah. And I don't know if in this time I already committed something in direction to go for peace in this world. Yeah, I hope. My mother was, yeah, I think she was a very good mother as far as she could do it. And she was very much connected to nature. From her I learned a lot. To respect nature, to learn about the animals, about the plants, about healing plants. These were the first steps. Yeah, she was quite a modern woman, because she told me very proudly that already in the 30s she was hitchhiking to Italy with a friend of her. So there is a little bit in her, yeah, to go to see the world. Yeah. To think about my father is not so easy, because he was soldier, and later he was depressive after the war, and then in the age of 48 he committed suicide, like a lot of these young men who have been in the war. Yeah, when the war started in 1939, he was 21 years old. And when now I'm looking to all the wars all over the world, I always think, what a horror. Your father had the same. Yeah. And this is quite a sad story. I'm the generation of the post-war. And it's like in Israel, Jewish people, the survivors couldn't speak about their trauma. So our parents couldn't speak about their shame, their guiltiness. And they never spoke about, for example, Holocaust or Auschwitz. We asked them, why didn't you tell us? The teachers in the school, they told us the stories, and they showed us also films, movies from the liberation of Auschwitz, and we came home and we cried. And then in all our school it was like this, that the parents went to school and asked the teacher, never again show films like this. But then we realized, oh, there is a big topic under the carpet, no? Yeah. And yeah, in this time we were, of course, educated still in the geist of the Nazis. For example, there were slogans. I was a very tiny, thin little girl, but I could run so fast, and I never complained about pain or things. And then the teachers or an uncle of mine, they had these Nazi slogans, so fast like a Windhund, a hunting dog, yeah, something like a hunting dog, tough like leather, and so hard like Kruppstahl. And Krupp was the one who gained a lot of money in the war, and who, you know, the people in the concentration camps had to work for Krupp. We did sit on the roads, and then in this region the Americans, soldiers with tanks and big lorries came, and we did sit there, and we always shouted chewing gum and chocolate, we little children, no? And then they gave us, and then later we were some of the elder ones told us to say "Amigo home." We said "Amigo home" and so. The Sinti Roma, in this time we called them gypsies, they came with their little beautiful, colorful cars with the horses and so. And I always wanted to go with the gypsies, always, always. But then I was told they only take very blonde, blue-eye little girls. They kidnap. Oh, and I was unhappy that I was not so blonde and not blue-eyed. I wanted to be kidnapped by the gypsies because this was for me a promise of a free life, of a joyful, free life. I don't know how it came, but this was one, yeah. My main activity started to defend the nature. This was in Frankfurt, where they expanded the Rhine-Main Air Base, not the American one, the German one. And we knew we have to do something there, because they are disturbing all the nature. And in this time, we were like, nowadays we would say extinguish rebellions. We were this. Nowadays, of course, I support the non-violent resistance. But in this days, it was a joy that something blew up, or a wall was broken, yeah. And the police, at the beginning we were very, very, very peaceful with the police, but when they did hit us so cruel, then our non-peaceful, our peaceful situation changed, yeah. And then I had to study. I finished my profession as a veterinarian, yeah. And my political awareness about racism started very early. I was about 24, 23, and I was, to earn some money, I was a waitress in an American club for the soldiers, yeah. And then I fell in love with an Afro-American soldier, yeah. And I was, this was a love affair about almost 2 years. And in this club, it was really clear that the managers of this club, they told me not to be together with the black people. You speak too much to them, and you have friendship to them, and they didn't know exactly what kind of love affair it was. And there were a lot of black waiters also from as soldiers. And in this time I did read the book of Eldridge Cleaver, Soul on Ice. The younger people, they don't know it. And this, he describes exactly his situation as a black person in prison, yeah, without any rights, without any dignity. And this book I read in English. I don't know how it came. My brother did give it to me in English. And when all the black people saw this, that I'm reading it, they came close and closer to me. Yeah, and this was, and then I realized the racism of my veterinarian colleagues, because I realized I'm in love with this Afro-American, and they were very, very sexistish and in how men can be. Yeah, and this was for me the first time that I really realized how racism functions. And of course, with my friend, with my lover, I went in Gießen, in the city, to Black Panthers movement. And when I think about this time now, I don't know if I really understood a lot. You know? But I went there, and there were, yeah, I think mostly I was the only white woman there in these meetings. So this started early, quite earlier. And then I came in the movement, in the NGOs for Nicaragua, for example, the liberation movements in Latin America. And this touched me so much. This touched me really much. And then in the early 80s, in the 84, I went the first time to Nicaragua, well prepared, political, and we even had to learn the language more or less, that we could speak with the people. And there I realized, I knew it before, but there I realized really what is the reason for our wellness in the north and our comfort in the north, and what is the reason for the poverty, the indignity, the exploitation, and what is the reason for the war. How could America do a war against 6 million Portuguese, Nicaraguan people, a country, and this Ronald Reagan was in my soul a big enemy. When I realized how we disturb nature, and already in the 84s I always did write reports for the medias, and I spoke also publicly about the situation in this country. This was our task, and I described already in the 80s, early 80s, the destruction of our climate, the destruction of the rainforests. So my life became quite joyful because of all this protest, I must say, because still nowadays I have a lot of friendship to men and women with whom I have been in the NGOs, in the protest. And this made my life rich, yeah? And of course I could have been a veterinarian till the end of my life and protecting the going to the club of the dogs and education of dogs. But then I realized, oh no, this is not my vision of my life. Because when I came back from, for example, Nicaragua, I knew the children are dying because of a simple diary. They couldn't be operated because they had not the equipment in the clinics. And then I came back to my clinic, which I had near Frankfurt. I had a clinic for small animals. And I realized what a world. Every shepherd dog in Germany has more space and more need more resources of our planet Earth than a person in the poor countries. And then I was something like fed up from this nonsense, and I didn't want to support it any longer. Yeah, this was for me a key point to realize, no, not in my name. I liked my profession very much and I like to help the animals, but to make the operation of a pacemaker, like Jana has, a Herzschrittmacher, no? For a dog, I thought, no, all this nonsense. And in the last years of my profession, when I went to a supermarket and I saw suddenly 10 different kinds of dog food, 10 different or 20 different kinds of cat food, and I was always asked from the patient owners, what should I feed my dog? What is the most healthy thing? And then I thought, oh no. And in other countries, children are starving, and I saw starving children. And then I realized, oh no, I want to finish with my profession a bit earlier than normal. So I felt the war deeply, and I felt also the pain and the fear of people and the injustice. And in this time, these farmers for whom we built the refugee village camp, they had a lot of animals, cows and bulls, for McDonald palace. No? And I saw the destruction of the world, of the so-called jungle. And when I came back, it was a clear decision that I start to eat vegetarian, and a little bit later also vegan. Yeah. Then the same happened to me in Colombia. Yeah. To go several times with Tamera people to Colombia and to see, elder people could tell us, 5 years ago there was a jungle, but now we have 100 cows. No? Yeah. For me, it's a clear ethical, social, ecological decision for myself, to eat no animal products, not any longer. And now I live vegan since about 25 years or longer. And I'm happy that in Tamera that is a topic, even if people go out and eat out meat. But inside it is a clear topic, and therefore I honor Tamera. Yeah. And my friend Uri. Yeah. In 1997, I sold my clinic, my veterinarian clinic near Frankfurt, because I decided to make my political work no longer in South America, because I'm not inhabitant, I'm German, I'm from the other side, and I decided to change our dreams of the world in Germany, and to do all the political work, or what I wanted to see in another lifestyle I wanted to live, and not to complain, you shouldn't do this and that. I wanted to do it myself together with friends. And so I, together with other people, we created the Ecodorf Siebenlinden. I was one of the first pioneers, and I'm happy that I did it. And so my dream when I went to community life was always to not to live under a bubble, to live in contact with other communities, to have the same vision, to have the same dream. We called it also a healing biotope, yeah, because we all wanted to heal the planet Earth and the world, and also in the social structures. Yeah, and then yeah, Siebenlinden was quite a good place for me to live there and to build houses, straw bale houses, and I did already do gardening and herbal gardens and so. And then in the year 2005, before I was sometimes a visitor in 2005, I joined the pilgrimage, the political peace pilgrimage to Palestine, Israel, under the leadership of Sabine Lichtenfels and Benjamin von Mendelssohn. And this pilgrimage over 4, 5, 6 weeks, I don't remember exactly. Also Alice was part of it. And in this time I realized, aha, this is a community really deeply working inner topics and outer topics, political topics. So I was deeply touched from the quality of this community. It was very balanced, of course, in this time. Babette also visited the settlers, and we wanted, with open heart, to listen to them and to listen to the Arabic part, to the West Bank people who are very, it was hard to stay in between. Yeah. Nowadays, after this Gaza war, which happened some weeks before, I have a clearer stand. I would say, no, this can't be any longer. Or the whole thing about the settlements, no, finish, ya basta. Yeah? And the most important thing for me was the communitarian life and the political commitments. And what fascinated me, to live in a community which is a global community. I didn't know that it's so much German. In the education time of Montessori, I always had the political issues. I was in the Colombian group. We went nearly every year to Colombia. And together with Phoebe, I made the health station, and we made also pilgrimages. And in this time it was always under the protection and under the leadership of Babette, all these pilgrimages. And I was fascinated, because the commitment was totally for the whole community, even the people who didn't go to the pilgrimages. I would like to say to the next generation, please awake, awake, because we are living as in this community or in the north of the planet Earth in such safe conditions, especially we here in the community. And I would say, please see how the world is working. We should know how war appears and who are the winners in this war and who are the losers. And it's always the poor people are the losers. And be aware that at the borders of Europe, day by day, people, refugees are drowning. And for me, we shouldn't ignore this, because I'm the generation after the war. We asked our parents, you didn't know anything about Holocaust? And your children will ask you, you didn't know that the climate is a catastrophe already? A lot of people because of climate change are refugees and the borders are closed in Europe. No. The young generation should be empört. You should be empört. You should feel it. Yeah? You should do your inner work and feel safe, but at the same time, look in the world. Look what happens, even in Portugal. What happens in the greenhouses? Now we have been to a demonstration, and how does it go on? Do we fall asleep again and ignore it because the ocean is so beautiful and we can enjoy ourselves there? No, we have to be angry. There was once a movement of grandmas in rage. The youth must be enraged. And for example, you look at the people like Carola Rackete. What did she do? This German Kapitän on the Sea Watch. She did risk something. She did risk to go to prison. She brought the refugees, which she rescued, to a harbor in Dings. Yeah. And the other girl is the Swedish girl who is bringing a movement over the planet, over the whole globe. Fridays for Future. Join these people. Yeah. And don't forget a girl like her. And don't believe she is sick because of this, not Alzheimer, but the other thing. Yeah, she is Greta Thunberg. These are models. And you must not be the same, but honor this. And everybody should have a little bit of Greta Thunberg inside, and also of Carola Rackete. Yeah, engage yourself for your future. It's your future. Yeah, and you are standing on our shoulders. We support you, we elders. We want to support you. But please, do more. Also in Tamera, I think. A bit fire. This is my opinion. I like our youth very much. I like how the children grow up. I like it very much. But politically, I think they could be a little bit more angry. Yeah? Because it's their future. And what I would like is that they ask me sometimes, why is it like this? Take care of your future. and I would like to help them. And as an elder, I would like also to have something for the elders also, not only for the youth, because the elders can support the youth if they feel good, if they feel heard, if they feel seen. And I would like that the elders create something like an elder council, where every elder, even the ones who are nearly invisible or not heard, can speak. The young people should be ministers of happiness. They should go through all Tamera and ask people, are you happy? What do you need to be happy? Do you feel well? And so they should be like scouts going from caravan and houses, from one house to the other, and ask the people, how do you feel? Can I help you something? Yeah, what do you need to be happy? And happiness, happy people can help each other. And I want to say something to my age again. I saw in my documents, which I wrote always when I have been making a journey or something, documents to bring to the paper, to the medias. But I saw one document and I applied for the Global Love School when I have been 70 years old. And I learned a lot in this Global Love School, and I was 4 times in the Global Love School. So Tamera is open for things like this, and I appreciate this very much. But now I'm not in the Global Love School any longer, but it was nice. It was a good time also for me. Because in Tamera there is always a question about eros. Yeah, and now I answered my question about eros by myself. Yeah. In every age, if you are 17 or 70 or 90 or every human being should have the feeling my life has a fulfillment. This, here in Tamera we say, I found the place where God likes me to be. And this changes, of course, in your life. Sometimes, some period of life, you are fulfilled to be a mother and to educate your child. But then you are an activist, and also in community, it is very, very important that you have the feeling, I'm part of the community, I'm an important part, and I say again, I'm heard and I'm seen also as an elder. This should be a vision for every community, that every age is important and has a good place in the community, and not a strange hierarchy there. Yeah. Especially we as elders are also seen in our wisdom. Yeah, and therefore I would like to have something like an elders council, like we have a women council, the carrier circle, an elders council, where young people can go and say, we need somebody, even if you listen to me, this is important. So, yeah, to have the connection between all the generations. It's not healthy that young people are only among each other and elder ones. This is not healthy. This is what we have all in our society, and this creates separation and frustration. So, let's create together a new culture, young and old, Yeah.